It's the Hearthstone Global Games, and wow, wasn't that one heck of a series? It was a long one too, Lorinda. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a nice rest, had a little, proper 8 hour sleep, feeling all refreshed for what feels like a brand new day of Hearthstone to me. How are you doing?
I actually genuinely don't care. I'm glad you missed it, and I hate you. That was an amazing, amazing set of Hearthstone. I think every caster after most 2 hour matches feels a bit dead, but honestly, that was so ridiculous. I enjoyed every moment of it.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad to hear it. We've hopefully got an equally fun one coming up next. It's going to be Argentina up against Mexico. And I mean, you guys were just casting Mexico, so I'm sure that you've spoken a little bit about their strategy already. But I did talk to Impact very briefly, and he was saying how they're good friends. They're playing together. Obviously, we could see on their player cams that they're playing in the same room, and they were planning on targeting Warrior and Resurrect Priest, which the entire group ended up bringing. So as far as their preparation, Mexico were looking in a really good spot.
Yeah, well, they just reverse swept against the Warrior in three of
There you
the
go.
most ridiculous games of Hearthstone you'll ever see. Um, I don't know what to say. We may see some of that again. We won't see the Rogue game ever again, but
I
the
knew it,
Druid and
yeah.
stuff we will see. Um, the
did did
Rogue
South
combos.
did South Rover end up
So
coming into it in a huge way?
I mean, yeah, I mean, stuff over into Infinite Guns is what we're probably going to see again at some point in this particular one. But
Mhm.
Shadow of Death onto 1010 Moon Man as Rogue, Colossus of the Moon versus Warrior, and just keep hitting your opponent for 10 was some of the most insane silliness I've ever seen. It was
I
great.
only, I
On the
only, I
back
only,
of all the guns.
I only saw bits. I've got to put my hands up and say that I didn't catch as much of that series as I now wish I did, but I will be rewatching that one during the week. Anyways, here we are. Now go down on the Shaman. Impact on the Rogue. Let's get this one started.
Impact has had time to calm down between the two matches. He was getting very, very excitable because nobody loves that sort of stuff more than Impact. Anyway, I also need to calm down because nobody loves that sort of stuff more than me. You know how much I love fun. Maybe not. Let's see if Nalgidan's shaman makes more sense than anything that just happened in the last hour.
Nalgadan is
I think I might
definitely
need.
ready to have some fun. Like, he's ready with that Spirit of the Frog. He's ready with the coin. Ready with the Evolve. Just needs to draw them, to draw the Evolve and the hair, and he's good to go. But up against the Rogue, we've seen time and time again Shaman quite consistently taking this matchup down, at least over the course of HGG so far.
Yeah, and I think we are learning the thing that nobody didn't know already is that Shaman is just the best class right now. Whichever variant you want to bring, it's just really good. Come on, Pharaoh Cat, do that thing that you do. Impact not letting Mogu come down. That's why that minion's not coming down yet.
Yep. It is very interesting and cool to me how playing against the token shaman deck and actually playing as the token shaman, it's not easy and straightforward, you know? Like, we're always talking about how strong token shaman is, and yeah, okay, it's a very powerful deck, but it also does have an incredibly high skill ceiling.
Oh yeah, I was saying that to somebody earlier. It's a very tough deck to play correctly. The hate or the people wanting it nerfed, it comes from the fact that even if you don't play it correctly, it is still really powerful if you play it badly. But in terms of correctly playing both sides of it, a lot of the decks at the moment are as skillful as they've been, and I do have high hopes for post rotation skill levels in the game.
Yeah, that is something to look forward to.
When you spoke to Impact, did he mention like that he? Because what we've seen is he's basically the driver, and Panizardo is just the "you've got it wrong, don't do it, man."
No, he said to me that they are very good friends. They only live 20 minutes away from each other, hence why they're able to play in person so easily. And yeah, no, that is all he said. He said about the targeting, and says that in his opinion, the best way to play this is to just target the weakest two decks, which is somewhat risky. I mean, we have seen a lot of Warriors, sure. We've not seen that much Resurrect Priest, so it does seem as though with their strategy, they did get placed in the correct group.
Yeah, well, Philippines did the same thing, didn't they? They targeted 2 different decks and also got placed in the correct group.
Right, right. But then maybe that's just good.
Priest and Rogue.
Is that just good research though?
Definitely a part of it. You don't just accidentally pick which deck's a target. It's definitely a thing. You need a little bit of luck, but then Hunter Ace, on top of his playing skills, throughout 2017 in particular, consistently outpredicted the field and what they were going to bring every single month, every single tournament, bar about 2 out of 15 or something. Like, he consistently got incredibly lucky by picking things exactly right, which means it's not luck after a certain point.
No, exactly. It's good preparation. Here we go. There is the sap into let's start doing some things and play a big Edwin. That seems good to me. Dagger goes into the Twilight Drake. It's given Impact a nice position on the board. However, there are 2 Rockbiter weapons in Nalgudan's hand, and one could just go on that 3-1 Divine Shield and make the easy trade.
I think
we haven't actually spoken.
Might be fine here.
We actually haven't spoken about Rockbiter weapon, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a Rockbiter weapon Doomhammer version of Aggro Shaman.
Oh, okay, because I didn't have time to check the decks, because by the time I knew who had won this one, I was into this Mexican mess. So if you can
I was just
on the weirdness.
Yeah, well, I was just looking at the hand, like, why are there 2 Rockbiter weapons? I'm sure we haven't seen any spell generation here. I just take a little glance.
I see it now.
And yeah, double Rockbiter weapon and double copies of Doomhammer. Otherwise, it is looking mostly standard. Do you know what?
Double lava burst for the full aggro effect.
Double lava burst, Electra. Yeah, obviously Desert Hare and Evolve. You can't really run Shaman without running that. And Spirit of the Frog is a great way of cycling through those spells.
Yeah, significantly different. This is straight aggro Shaman. No Bloodlust is a big difference. Yeah, this is basically aggro Shaman. You're taking out all the late game messing around, Stormbringer, Bloodlust, and that. And instead, you're just going to burn them out when you've done the damage, going Frog into Rockbiter into Lava Burst.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you, Lorinda. My very hastily made notes read that this was a quest Shaman, which is clearly very wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly what mine read. I mean, mine read Token Shaman, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit closer.
And Nazoth Rogue, which I'd not written down either, because despite the fact I did look through all of the team's decks at some point over the last few days, the specifics usually come in on the day.
There's a lot of info to take in there. Yeah, so there's no Sea Giant in this list. There's no Stormbringer, which is pretty common nowadays. There's no Lightning Storm. What else is missing?
That's about it. There is an Electra to get double value out of that nonsense as well.
Yes, and no Soul of the Murloc as well. That's another key card. So Soul of the Murlocs has been swapped out essentially for Rockbiter weapons, which serve the same purpose, at least as far as the Spirit of the Frog is concerned. And there you go. The damage is going into the face there. That's not just lethal, is it? I think
I'm still looking at the deck list. I'll look at the screen and have a look. Yeah, it's
4,
lethal.
7. I mean, yeah, if the 4/4 hasn't attacked yet, which it has not, while we're busy trying to break down the book, now Gudan is busy slamming in the damage, and that is just a GG right there.
To continue that breakdown that we started whilst missing lethal, basically the deck has taken out all the token shenanigans, so we spend a lot of time talking about should they keep this board, how do they get the Murlocs down, how do they keep their 5 minions on board, and instead of that, they just go, what you just saw there was probably better than me explaining it. I'm going to throw things at your face. And I'm not going to worry about keeping things on board, because if I get an Evolve off early, I will do enough damage with my bits and pieces to just launch things at you. And that's what has happened. I like it.
You know what?
I like it a lot.
Let's just let the players do the talking in that respect, shall we? And wow. I've always been a big fan of Aggro Shaman. Like, whenever you've been able to sneak a little Doomhammer build into the format, I've always enjoyed that. I've got to admit, I do like the way Doomhammer and Rockbiter Weapon interact. For those of you that haven't been around that long, may not remember, Rockbiter Weapon used to cost 1 mana and was nerfed because of its interaction with Doomhammer. But now with Spirit of the Frog, it does find a Nice little way back into the game. As we move into game number 2, it's going to be Empanizado now piloting the Combo Priest up against the Rogue, again from Nalgudan.
Yeah, and even this isn't entirely normal for the Rogue, but I don't think it helps it much. It's N'Zoth Rogue for one thing. It's got the Scheme Togwaggle combo in there. It's got N'Zoths and Kartuts like you do. And then like one of every control card, like one Fan, one Mind Control Tech, one Shark, one Rotten Apple Bomb. And then the rest is kind of like normal Rogue decks. There's a lot going on in this deck.
I didn't realize that Argentina also had the N'Zoth Rogue. Wow. So both Argentina and Canada are playing, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it's the group of Death Rattles.
No, sorry, Canada are not running the N'Zoth Rogue. It's just Argentina. Okay, ignore me. I had the earlier matchup the wrong way around. Okay, back to reality.
Sorry, I've not been there for many years. But back to the game, at least. And we haven't seen Combo Priest for 2 or 3 games. We've been watching so much crazy.
Wow, a whole 2 or 3 games
seems
without
almost
Combo
refreshing.
Yeah. It does. It also seems very, very powerful, as Empanizado does have Ahmet ready to go on turn 4, and Psychopomp to curve into the turn after that. Nalgudan does have the Vendetta, which will deal 4 damage. Maybe that's enough to deal with it, but no, because the Vendetta's going straight into the Injured Blade Master. So it's very possible that Empanizado can get a powerful Ahmet to stick. This turn sucks, though.
And that is a problem for sticking the Ahmet, because the Rogue will have a significantly bigger board next turn. As we can see, even the Blink Fox helps with that.
Yes, but Empanizado can just play the Psychopomp first instead. It will bring back the Injured Blade Master, and then that in itself is a board that Nalgudan is going to have to deal with.
Yep, and as always... Again, we've seen that a couple of times today. Psychopomp turn. You don't expect this to stick, but you do expect your opponent to use a lot of resources dealing with it, which is just as useful. That pickup making the trades a little bit more interesting. Beforehand, they were very straightforward. Still going with reasonably obvious looking stuff to this point.
Yeah, it's still not ideal though, is it? Gonna have to trade in a Blink Fox and then trade in Thanos, I suppose. Ahmet into Beaming Sidekick this turn is looking pretty solid. Next turn for Empanizado is looking really solid.
Might Dagger. Depends how much they value the 4.
Oh, that's true. But then drawing a card is also...
Yeah, 4's quite a lot as well. Going below 28 is quite different to 30, but with all the 7s at the tail end of things.
So 8 damage available to Nalgudan next turn, including the backstab, 9 including the dagger. So actually, Nalgudan will be able to clear this, even with the Beaming Sidekick buff. What they won't be able to clear is the Sidekick itself.
Right. Which is very aggravating for them.
Here's a weird question: was it worth Empanizado considering making the Ahmet a 7/7 instead of a 2/9?
No, because of SAP, I think.
Yeah, one has already been used, but yeah, no, you're right. That's probably enough of a reason itself.
I think you don't use Inner Fire until it's going to win you the game. You've got the Topsy as backup, I guess, but need to be very careful of those saps. I see why you would do it though. Like if they don't have the other sap, it's pretty much a fortress.
I wonder.
But it isn't going to kill anything. That's your point, right? Sort of get almost free trades on it. But then injured enemy minions can be a good thing if you go clericing and circling and stuff. Oh, they've got their own. That's really naughty.
I mean, with lackeys, that is pretty nice, actually.
It is very fruity.
Like, you get
Continuing the
faceless
nonsense.
lackey. Get faceless lackey. You can summon a flame imp, so a 3/7 like this. But all right, Empanizado and Impact. They say it's go time. We're gonna win now or never. Trade both of your minions into this. Go on, I dare you.
Yeah, an Impact's heavy side air shows you they didn't want to do this.
Well, unfortunately, their hand is just starting to dry up here. There's no Northshire Cleric, no Circle of Healing, no Nether Sprite, no Wild Pyromancer. Like, none of the key tools that Empanizado needs to gain a bunch of cards. And now this Armet, again, naughty is the word that you used to describe it, and I quite agree.
Just play more 1/7s. And swashbuckler into, I don't know, anything. Just like seeing the silly things on the board. I think that the NFI is a bit of a giveaway that Mexico are all in here. Oh my goodness. Actually, that doesn't do anything. There's one other swashbuckler, I think, in the whole deck.
Right,
big minion.
that's the only other one drop? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is a 7/7. That's something.
Because we must remember that this is a N'Zoth Rogue, just because every single card we've seen has not represented that so far. So there's no fair rogue cat.
It's not the first time this happened today either. This N'Zoth Rogue is doing a great job of role-playing a regular Tempo Rogue.
Yeah. Yeah, it's only sort of 6 or 7 cards different. Wow. So Argentina working out their lose condition, not their win condition here.
So many options.
Yeah, and they come to the conclusion that let's just kill the stuff that we see out there, even though it's going to be a little bit painful to do so. And we don't believe that Mexico can challenge the board after this. I think that's the point of all this play. And in the meantime, just slam a 7/7 and hit them with it. Yeah. Okay, I'm good with this. This looks fun.
Bonsomni on the other side is something. It's probably the best card that Empanizado could have drawn at this stage, but I can't help but wonder if it's too little too late. Priest is very good at being proactive, but awful at being reactive, and reactiveness is what Team Mexico need right now.
Yeah, and even though it's not a regular rogue, it can still put enough pressure on just with the board it's got and the hand it's got. And like you say, reacting to that's going to be incredibly hard. Quite tough for Argentina, actually. PNC and now Gaiden not the fastest players. And as a slow player myself, I know that when you're trying to communicate with other people, that can be quite distracting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, who's thirsty?
Yeah, just tempting though it is to go face. I think you just trade into this, and it's a little bit awkward actually.
It's somewhat awkward, but like again, when you've cleared everything the priest's got, there's really not much the priest can do. And you make
Yeah.
the trade and still have a very powerful board. If you don't kill it, Empanizado could just go Divine Spirit, topsy-turvy, you're dead.
That's the problem. You're just scared of their next turn, which you know they've got all those 1-drops. So you expect them to have a circle or something and draw a million cards. Like you say, you've got to deal with it. Yeah, there's just nothing there. And the way they did all the trades, which was an obvious way, but obviously left nothing injured. Trading 7/7s into 7/7 will do that for you.
In the light's name.
Killed that. Shadow Step might come into play here just to get some more gas if... Oh, okay, or not.
How much gas do you need is the question. I mean, again, you just clear both 3/2s. The only way that Impact and Empanizado can come back from this now is a good Pyromancer circle play. But even then, all they're doing is drawing cards. Armet is gone, dead. One Psychopomp, dead. The key power cards that can actually put up a threat that now Godan might not be able to deal with are all gone.
Yeah, it's looking very 2-0-ish to me. That's where we're sat. Where now Gideon and PNC are sat, they've got to work stuff out. I think from where we're sat, we can see that whatever Argentina do, they don't lose this game unless they do something absolutely absurd, like attack their own face or something. Going with a sensible play, kill everything your opponent has, and you never lose. How do they get through this? They probably don't.
Nazoth into the Thanos, fantastic. What a powerful 10-drop!
Yeah, 5/7, 1/1 spell damage in a card. Actually, that's not that bad. I was trying to be sarcastic and realised as I was saying it, it wasn't too terrible. That'll teach me.
Empanizado and Impact finally getting the cards, right? There's a circle, that's
Yeah.
going to draw 4 cards, but they don't have the board presence to back it up, and only 3 mana to spend for the rest of this turn. Oh, and there's the Pyromancers, fantastic.
Well, all they need now is something that gives charge, and they've won. 24 plus 5 plus 1, yeah, that's it. They need 7 mana, a card that doesn't exist. And all will be well.
Well done, Lorinda, you learned to count.
Well,
That's a rare trait for us casters these days.
giving it a good go. Don't get sorry though, they have actually got to kill this. I don't think they can. Now they can.
Ho, ho, ho.
That's absolutely clutch. Without that, actually, Impact's play might have, well, would have probably worked.
It would have brought him
Might
just
have
one more
ended up with
turn.
29, but... Well, have you got to kill the 114? I guess they just lump a lot of damage into it, so it's not a 114 anymore, but...
Yes, that would have been the only way, depending on what the swash picks up, I guess. Oh, that'll do it. Oh no, sorry, that's not the one I thought it was. That's Lazul's scheme. I thought for a second it was Forbidden Words, but that's not
Yeah,
a thing anymore.
those are 2 cards that I struggle with from certain screen angles as well. Not as much as the 2 9-drops for Priest, but yeah. Which are just the same art, I'm sure of it. I feel very sorry for the artists because they're clearly not the same art. Right, here's a clue. Don't let the 114 live. And don't rope it. Do it before you do all the other messing around. It's the only thing that you can mess up. That's it. But I understand that he's got this off, but why would you play the sap last?
I mean, there's the sarcastic clapping from Impact.
Well,
Clearly
Impact-
that sap blast tilted him.
Yeah, he thought that was BM, and that is actually a reason against Impact to do it last, to be fair. But it wasn't BM. It was just silly. Because the one thing that can go wrong there is you can rope yourself and not get the sap off.
Yeah.
Whilst trying to get the bouncing and stuff right that just didn't matter. I think it's the one thing where a lot of our top pros can get a lot better. It's something that Zalae's very good at. Not the time management, but the realizing when the time management's going wrong and bailing and just doing the important things and letting some of the other things be wrong. But the important thing is he did get the sap off. For all my whining, shouting at clouds. And it is looking like it's going to be 2-0.
I mean, yeah. I don't have a counter argument to that. Although, I would also say, if I remember rightly, the previous series, didn't Mexico start 2-0 down? And
Yes.
then make... So, just because they've started 0-2, that doesn't mean anything for the longevity of this series. Mexico are the comeback kings, I guess.
Yeah, they do have a target warrior strategy, though, and no warrior being played. So definitely can be done again, but it's going to be harder. I guess Nazoth Priest is kind
Well, that
of
was the
close
other
to
deck they
Nazoth
said they were
Priest.
targeting.
Yeah, so
But
it
they
does
said
give them some
Res
chance.
Priest and yeah. Well, either way, the score is 2-1 with Argentina only needing to win with that Resurrect Priest in order to take the series and win the group. They're going to be wanting to do that, but Mexico still standing in their way. Can they get the reverse sweep one more time? We'll find out in just a few moments. It's the Hearthstone Global Games. It's Argentina versus Mexico, and the score is 2-0, not 2-1. Not sure what I was talking about there. And we are now going to see if Mexico can make the reverse sweep, or if Argentina are going to really finish this one in style with their Resurrect Priest, which Impact had said to me that Team Mexico were targeting. What do you think of that, Lorinda?
I mean, it's one thing to target a deck, and they've already been successful once, to be fair. But to beat any deck 3 times in a row, as we always say, is just not where you want to be. I mean, it's quite obvious it's not where you want to be, but yeah, sure. And they can definitely do it again. I mean, it is possible to do it again if they've got the lineup for it, but you need a lot of, I don't know, 80% situations, even 85 to make it work 3 times in a row.
We talk about this kind of strategy quite often, and we like to point out, although you may be favoured in all 3 matchups, that does not mean you are favoured to win the series, because you just need to get unlucky once, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea of this sort of strategy, when we say you're targeting a deck or 2, is that you're going to be 2-1 up or something. Like over, the deck you're targeting, you'll beat twice, you'll lose once, you'll get like a 2-1 lead, and then have 50-50s to convert. It doesn't mean you throw the first 2 and then rely on the deck you're targeting beating the 3-0. It's not the plan. It's a nice out, but it's not the plan. Yeah, the plan is to stay level with the other decks as well. So plan is not on target, but plan was not on target earlier either, and in the most entertaining way possible, they did help us. So, Quest Shaman taking on the Priest.
Slamming down the Sandstorm Elemental immediately, rather than the Questing Explorer. What do you make of that one, Lorinda?
I mean, it's got no targets at all.
Of course it's the right way.
So it means that if it's going to get penance, they kill the same amount of attack and kill a smaller minion. How about that?
Okay.
I don't know if that's the correct explanation, but that's an explanation.
That is incredibly, incredibly fringe. I mean, I guess the other explanation is that they wanted to play it this turn or next turn, and they decided if we play the 2/2 this turn with Overload, we only need 2 mana next turn. But if we play the Questing Explorer first and then play the one with Overload, we might want all of the mana the turn after. That's the only other thing I can think.
That's actually correct, because there are things that have 1 health after Psycho Punch. Yeah, your play is definitely the reason. Feels out the curve nicely. But now into the 4 mana turn, which is Hair Evolve when they draw the hair. The Shaman, right? Always draws the hair.
Of course. It's just one of the things about playing the deck. It's part of the hero power. Wow.
Yep, not being overly greedy.
No, I mean, Impact playing this quite aggressively, actually.
Yeah, I think the hand kind of calls for it. They played it slightly differently the turn before because the hand was very different. You've got more chance of a board sticking early. This is not really a mass hysteria sort of board either. 1 big and 2 small means that something's going to live. What we have seen is obviously after N'Zoth, the mind control tech is super good. So that won't be used anytime soon. And we saw them be very, very greedy with it, in fact, earlier. Who's going to bite it?
Ooh, biggest minion. Oh well, not the end of the world. However, now Gudan can actually start to play big threat after big threat after big threat now. Whether he wants to psychopomp that back out again or start to play those card suits. Yeah, playing card suit looks good. But this into the second card suit into Rag is looking like a reasonable curve. Or into psychopomp if he wants to play more defensively.
I hope you like my invention.
At some point though, Impact is just going to have the damage to kill now Gudan. And it's going to come faster than you might expect.
Yeah, we saw him play quite safely in one of the games, but again, the hand is different this time around, and if you can get it done before turn 9, so your board doesn't get plagued away, okay, you have to run the Mass Hysteria Gauntlet or the Light Bomb Gauntlet, but Evolves tend not to play into Light Bombs too badly. A lot of high health minions, and you kind of take your chance of Mass Hysteria. We saw Nozdamo live after one of them in hilarious fashion.
What is Elun's will?
It's very interesting balance that now Gudan has to strike now between actually being proactive and also just playing quite defensively. Like 26 health, it's still good for now, but again, with that hero power, things can turn sideways very fast.
Yeah, and that's where the slowdown has come from here. I think Mass Hysteria is almost certain to clear the board. Not 100%, but it's very, very close. But they've got to plan out their next few turns. They can play one card a turn, basically, the way the mana works out. So they want to plot the next few turns, the entire course. And I'm wondering at this point if it's a conscious effort by Impact to play faster against Argentina than he did against Brazil. Knowing that PNC and now Giden are incredibly considered players. Because it seems unnaturally fast. He's not a slow player anyway. Oof. But it seems like he's playing unnaturally fast to me.
Maybe with the support of a teammate, it encourages him to be more confident with the plays. If his teammate's there backing him up, say, yeah, that sounds good straight away.
No, it's a definite difference from the previous game, though, from the previous match.
Okay.
Where they took their time and roped a lot. It feels like an actual strategy. And if anyone's going to do something like that, it would be Impact as well.
Right. I mean, to be fair, they specifically are countering this deck, but N'Zoth Rogue, probably not something that they've played against all too much.
Sure. Okay.
That Rag isn't going anywhere.
I mean, next turn is just lethal, isn't it? We're very
it
close
looks like lethal. No, it is. Life Drinker plus Kobold with the hero power. That's 10 damage, and the Rag does the other 8. That is going to be game number 3, going to Impact and Team Mexico with the beginning of a potential reverse sweep there. Impact told me they're planning on taking down any priests, and the opponent has a priest. Sorry, resurrect priest specifically. So this could be the end for Argentina. We're going to find out. That's very exciting indeed. I do love how back and forth these series have been over the course of the Global Games, Lorinda. We've only seen, I think, 1 3-0, and everything else has been, we've had a lot of like beginnings of a sweep and comeback, you know?
I mean, I moaned, not as much as some, but reasonably significantly about best of 3s in big events. And this is why. Best of 5, for me at least. I know some people don't want to watch hour-and-a-half slugfests, and I understand that aspect to it too. But for me, on a personal level, I like the back and forth of a best of 5. It gets you time to get into the match. We're now 2-1, which would have been 2-0. Whatever happens now, we've got, what's going to happen? Still going on. We're not on to the next game.
We are now on to the next game, and it's going to be the Rogue up against the Priest. So let's see if Impact's Rogue is as proficient at dispatching this deck as the previous one. And again, we're talking about a Rogue, a deck that runs saps specifically against big, expensive minions like Kartut. So as long as we don't get into the sort of turn 11, turn 12, turn 13s of this matchup, I think the Rogue is quite a big favorite.
Yeah, I think so. They have got to get there. The sap is a big deal against anything with Kartut in it. When you play the other side, you just never want to put it on the board. Because if the rogue saps it and plays a 4-drop, you just lose. And we're never going to know about this speed of play, by the way. Because if I say to Impact, did you specifically play quicker against Argentina to unsettle them? He will say yes.
Okay. And would that be a lie? What?
Whether it was the truth or not, he would say yes. I know he would.
Impact is certainly an interesting one. Quite a character is Impact.
Hellfire seems good to me. Damage through those minions, damage to the face.
Ziliax, very nice shape to get rid of that henchman burglar.
Yeah, Ziliax is just a super card, obviously. I quite like it because I don't mind overpowered cards that still allow gameplay. Like here, there's Decision. Not on this turn because he went on 30, but in some situations, the decision would be, do I give them 3 health or do I waste a card and some tempo? Here we
Certainly
go.
one of the strongest neutral minions we've had in quite a time. But yeah, here we go. Edwin Van Cleef is an 8/8. Yes, now Gudan can play the convincing infiltrators. Yes, they will snipe off one minion. And actually, yes, they might stop a fair amount of damage. But if Impact picks up a sap, that could just be lights out very quickly for now Gudan.
Second time in 2 games we've seen this setup going into turns 5 and 6 from Mexico. Big minion, lots of little things. Mass Hysteria will have no effect on the big one. The little ones will all shoot each other, great, but the big minion would live it well enough to do more damage, and we've seen this setup work already once. Very nice pattern to remember.
What is Elun's
The
will?
end begins. Unity, precision, perfection.
Oh, oof. Now the Hellfire is going to come into play.
It is indeed, and that's going to be 11-12 damage with the dagger going straight to the dome. And there's the
And then
sap,
next
which is
turn,
going to be
the sap.
fantastic for next turn. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Oh, Hellfire's a little awkward. So it's going to sap now. The problem with Hellfire is that you'd have to put in both cats into the Ziliax first, which I guess wouldn't have actually been an issue. Thinking about
Sure,
it.
you just hit them
But
for
both
8.
cats-
Yeah, I just want...
Yeah. But this is fine. The only downside to this is that it now allows Gudan to play a card suit while you've got no sap in hand.
Yes. Yeah, I'd rather have used the Hellfire on the Ziliax and then sap
Yeah.
whatever comes down this turn. Because
I
the
agree.
Infiltrator is also really horrible if you have to kill it.
I agree. I mean, there is potentially a little bit of cast division happening there because we can see that there's 2 infiltrators and the card suit. Although things have worked out fine for Impact now, with the 3 minions surviving the light bomb and now still another 4 damage going to the face. He's got Togwaggle as soon as he can pick up a Lackey, which we have seen the Togwaggles struggling with a little bit over the course of the weekend.
Yeah, the deck's getting quite tight on lackeys now. But they did prove that the point that you made there. The light bomb was another thing they're playing around, so cast division was a thing. Because it meant they still managed to get more damage in. I still would have liked to see the Hellfire used, so I don't think it gets much use later. Maybe they're seeing a world where they use it later after the Zoth or something. Oh, cap on backwards time. Serious business for Impact.
What is Elun's will?
Tombs.
Yeah. Looking at the value option, and he's had to pause just for breath for a moment here.
Value option's pretty good here. You can get some quite aggressive things here. Xerix
Xerix
isn't
cloning
really-
gallery.
Yeah, take the Seance, just take more value. Seance the Togwaggle at some point, or even the Leroy, that's fine. Come Commanding Shout is interesting. Even just for the card draw, that's fine.
That seemed like a very quick pick to me.
Did Empanizado
Duel.
say anything there?
Well, Duel would have had a chance to just get rid of N'Zoth forever.
Oh, true. Low chance though, right? There's a lot of minions on this deck.
There are a lot of minions, and we can see it's not in hand, and they can't, and you don't really want to duel against the Infiltrator. But he took it very quickly. I guess N'Zoth's not just everything. There's plenty of resurrections in this.
Yes, that's true. There's mind control text. There's rotten apple bomb. There's both of those infiltrators and the and the her card that we can see. Like Impact doesn't know that any of that's still.
Can't see. Yeah, you're right. Impact was made the right choice there.
All right. It's a Shadow Step. Leroy Shadow Step Seance is interesting.
It is. Especially when you've got Hellfire to clean up the whelps at some point as well. It's just 3 damage waiting to happen.
So Leroy Shadow Step, Leroy hit Seance is all playable in one turn.
So, yes.
But then you obviously can't play the third Leroy.
Thank goodness, because those days still haunt me, Dan.
I hadn't
The
even
third
thought that.
Leroy. Oh, the 3 Leroy meta. Oh. No.
I remember the first ever time I played a game of Constructed in Hearthstone against a friend. Because when I first started playing, I only played Arena. When I first played a game of Hearthstone against a friend, he'd learned what Miracle Rogue was, and I hadn't at the time. And he just said, "Should we play a game against each other?" I was sure. And I basically played a Zoo deck. And he was more into the meta than I was. And we're talking in the days of closed beta. And he was like, "Oh, you're playing Zoo? How boring." I said, "Is this boring?" And then he's playing this Leroy deck and not quite managing to pull it off. And I'm like, "Wow, your deck sucks." I just didn't know better.
Brilliant. Absolutely. That's one of the most Falcone stories I've heard as well. I like it. Wholesome innocence and silliness all in one. Plenty of ways of doing a lot of good things here, but no ways of doing anything quite how you'd want to.
The taunts are just a little bit too taunty, aren't they?
And everything ends up killing all your things, even if you think it doesn't do that.
Like, taunt is cheat at the end of the day.
Indeed.
He could seance the infiltrator and then trade it in, and then no, it's
Right.
not good.
Or he could shadow step Hellfire just to show that the opposing infiltrator doesn't do anything.
Well, he can guarantee the clear just by daggering into the Bone Drake and then trading into the Kartu, because then the infiltrator's death battle will kill the other infiltrator.
But he doesn't really want his infiltrator to die. So he's used it to kill something. Okay.
That works.
So he's going for the Leroy
Shadow
nod.
Step. Yeah. And I assume he replays the Leroy now. If anything, putting these 1/1s on.
Yep, are you still there?
Yes, did I got out there for a second?
Yeah, we've got to start putting the 1/1s off.
Yeah, essentially putting the 1/1s on the board is a good thing, right? It fills up their resurrect pool with trash.
Yep. And next turn you have so much damage.
Just a little reminder for
next turn,
everyone.
right?
It is.
It's not because things will be played, sorry.
No, Ziliax can stop it. Infiltrator can stop it. Like, play them both. And
Every card stops the lethal, but there is lethal if they do nothing.
Just a reminder for everyone watching, this is the Hearthstone Global Games, and just like previous years of the Hearthstone Global Games, each of the teams are playing together. So although Nalgudan is not in the same room as his teammate, PNC, they will be communicating over voice comms together, just like Impact is communicating with Empanizado. They've chosen to play together in person. That's allowed they're allowed to communicate with their one teammate. It's a team tournament.
Yeah, we've seen other teams do it. The Philippines did this, and somebody else did, but we weren't working with cameras the first day, so I can't remember who. This is super close. Vendetta Hellfire clears the board. And then a whole bunch of Leroys. That's 16.
So many options.
Because you get 2 3-mana Leroys. But then your opponent almost certainly plays a taunt and you might lose. So they're saving the Hellfire. And now they're going to...
It's crazy how close this is, isn't it?
It's so close. That's why my brain's melting.
There's 2 3-mana Leroys in the hand. 1 mana off lethal. Holding back though. Interesting that they're not banking the damage.
They want
I'm playing out
to...
of taunt.
They're sort of setting up a trap as well. The Hellfire might just catch them out. 13, 15, and 15 available. So that is going to be lethal. My brain hasn't melted completely.
So hit in. Now down goes up to 16. Hellfire goes back. Yep, Hellfire goes back to 13. No, it is actually one off still.
It's one off. My brain has melted.
Oh no.
It's okay, I'll get another one.
Okay, no, Blink Fox into Holy Smite. Fine, we found it. No, he doesn't have the mana for that.
You haven't got the money, you've got exactly...
Yeah, exactly enough for the 2 Leroys now. And again, I'm surprised we're not seeing the damage being banked. Regardless.
So close.
Picks up a Seance. Seance the Leroy. No. Death, pain, heal is enough, right? Just clear the board. Clear the board.
Just...
However.
Yeah. Mexico have just needed a lackey for like the last 3 or 4 turns because 3 0-mana cards would have won this game at any point. Kind of doesn't matter what they are. With all the Leroys in hand, any 3 cards, like a 0-mana sap, a 0-mana, you pick it, it will win the game, basically. But now it looks like they might not be able to do it. And like you say, I think just the calm from the other side is showing. Still must be lethal out here. They've taken quite a chance here with...
I mean, there's so many cards that can just win the game right now.
Yeah.
That could be one of them.
Yeah, any sort of damage.
No!
Any sort of damage.
Alright, Togwaggle, that's fine. Okay.
Right, and then next turn they finally get their Wanderer's Wand to get this to 2-all. No real help there. Impact's starting to get the swagger back.
What is Elun's will?
Moving the mouse off some sort of disaster there. And I was saying to Derek, it must be so much easier to play when you're relaxed and having fun like this, as long as you still pay attention.
Hearthstone has always been a game that is fun to play with friends.
Okay. I see that.
You sound like you don't believe me.
I mean, I've never had friends, so
I'm your friend, Lorinda.
you are, Dan. And that makes me want to
All right.
question myself even more. Right, what are these 3 0-mana cards going to be?
Back up to 13 health, and there's a 1/6 taunt in the way. There are cards that deal damage in the deck. Backstab certainly helps being drawn before that. Okay. Okay. Oh. No Mind Blast. No Mind Blast in standard anymore, so Swashbuckler cannot be better.
Well, they have got Shadow Earth, Death and Sap now, so they're not dead themselves next turn.
Absolutely, they can clear, well, sort of clear everything. Temporarily clear everything. Maybe you backstab and penance the 1/6 instead so that it can't be played again.
Yeah, don't play Okanai and Penance in that order, that'll hurt.
No, yeah, with 6 health remaining, that's not looking good. Now Gudan, though, if that is the play here, Death, Penance, Backstab, again, not in that order. Now Gudan doesn't have anything to defend himself from this 3 damage, 4 with the dagger, 10 with the Leroy. That hat's turned around again.
I think they'll be disappointed with those 3 cards, though. I felt there weren't many combinations that bad, but you only save like 3 mana.
I mean, 2 0-mana Swashbucklers and a 0-mana Backstab, that's not ideal.
Well, you know about the Leroy. So you kind of have to kill these. You expect your opponent to have 1 mana, or do you? Because as he fumbles massively for the deck list, which then vanishes off his screen.
Oh no!
I don't know if Mexico has got Mexico's.
What are you looking for?
How much direct damage they've got in their deck?
No Eviscerates, Waggle Pick ×2, Life Drinker.
So quite a bit.
Yeah, I prefer this to the Plague. I mean, the Plague removes 3 damage from the board. This only removes, well, essentially heals you for 2. Is that lethal? 13, I think.
6, 9, 10, 13. Probably calculated. And then
How is Impact always the 1 damage off lethal?
yeah, it's not necessarily coincidence. I mean, I was asking you what's in the deck. They know what's in the deck for sure. They would have been dead by now if Impact had already drawn lethal. So they can probably deduce that they're safe. Well, not safe. I mean, they're on 1. It's not safe as such, but that they're not dead. They might be dead themselves in a moment.
So many options. Embrace the void.
That is a strange position, Arcanine, but we'll take it. I don't
Sure,
want to go on the board.
Hearthstone.
Do you know what? Priests haven't played me in their decks for years. I'm going to sit here.
I mean, whatever you want to do, Okanai. Just because you're not the main rabbit in town anymore.
But that is looking like it's pretty much it, right? Plague of Death does not allow now Gudan to heal. And then Leroy plus the dagger will be lethal on the other side. So unless I'm missing something...
Yeah, or unless it bugs out.
Oh, right, okay, sure.
Oh, you are
that makes
missing
a lot of
something. They
sense.
could just die.
Yeah. No.
But they don't. And it goes to 2 games apiece. Okanai gets out of the way for Mr. Jenkins. And we are going to game number 5 for the 2nd series in a row.
That is awesome. I mean, that's what we like to see. We like to see it going right to the nail to the very end. It's going to be Priest versus Priest up next. And I believe Mexico's is actually the regular kind of, or the more common kind of Priest, the combo Priest. Yeah. Again, they were targeting the soft Priest.
Of hitting people in the face. And although his lineup doesn't quite do that, like he hasn't got the token shaman, I know it's not just him, but I just suspect that Impact is a driving force behind lineups. Yeah, this is the deck that hits people in the face. Can't argue with that start for Argentina, though. Impact's feeling it again. So many decks do nothing on turns 1 and 2 and still win now.
That's true. Though now with the Light Warden picked up and the Beaming Sidekick and the Psycho Bomb, the Blade Master, like Impact has something to get going. Really needs to draw a Cleric this time. Hopefully not as late as he did in the previous game where they lost with this deck.
So there's a target for your pain. If your opponents are playing this, there's a good chance they want the cards. But not going with the pain, going with the penance, because things don't stay 1-3 for long in these parts. And Panizzato is one of my new favourite players, actually. He speaks to Impact by looking at him in different ways.
I find it entertaining that Impact seems to have, like, he's actually sitting in a couch. Looks quite comfortable. But Empanizado has something that looks more like a camp chair.
Yeah, also looks like he sort of stood up half the time, and yeah. Generally just making sure Impact doesn't do anything silly. Oh, more Canadian tea. Oh.
Now Godin needs to work out whether he's going to play the Shadow Word Pain on this Acolyte to prevent that thing from drawing a ton of cards.
Yeah, but it's sort of going to.
Okay,
Oh, damn.
Pyromancer, check. Circle, check. Northshire Cleric, check. This is looking like Impact and Empanizado have everything that they need to pop off this game.
Checkmate. You could have finished that with, and it would have been the best sequencing ever, and you missed it. All those checks.
In the light's name.
How many cards would you like, young man?
Five. I would like 5 cards, please.
Here you are, sir.
6.
Enjoy them.
6 even. The second proc on the Acolyte. Let's make that 6 cards.
Buy 5, get 1 in this shop.
And another 5, please, for the second circle. No, that's too many. Too many. Too many cards.
Wow. Yeah, this is almost desperate. So I think they're just going to load up as wide as possible and then take the chance with the inner fire. Does it work? Is it enough? Trying to work out if they could inner fire the 2/6 just to make sure that something simple could go through it. And then if they win the roll, which they do a lot of the time, they just win with a Light Warden. No! What's that? So my play would be to turn this into a... It doesn't work that way, Neil. It'd be a 6/6.
In the light's name.
So this is fine. Don't lose the 1 in 4. Heal up some stuff. Heal up some more stuff. It's not lethal, but it should be a game-winning amount of damage.
My hand is too full.
Okay, so
The end.
down to 4. And now it doesn't even matter if the 2/6 hits the Light Warden because there's plenty of other damage available. Impact's looking comfortable.
I'm back now. Sorry about that, Lorinda.
So it's okay. I hadn't realised you'd gone because I could.
Oh well, there you go.
Yeah, I'll explain later.
Little
What I could and
technical
couldn't.
fault.
It's even
Little technical
weirder.
fault on my end. Oh, okay.
So okay, only
So-
got about 4 hits while you were missing.
Well,
Silence,
there's a
win the game.
19-2 on the board and a silence, yeah. So actually, after all of that, Impact and Empanizado did it. They pulled off the reverse sweep, and they will be qualified out of Group C immediately. Huge congratulations to them. 2 reverse sweeps and some very well-deserved wins.
Whew, and now I know why Impact has been tweeting and Facebooking and everything all week. Come watch my games. We're playing them for anyone who's interested. If you want to watch our games, come watch them. He was right. They were 2 great series in a row.
So, yesterday we finished off Group A, today we finished off Group E, and now we are halfway through Group C. Let's take a look at the Group C bracket and see how we are doing at the moment. Mexico, the winners of Group C, and now Canada, Brazil, and Argentina need to duke it out tomorrow to decide which one team qualifies and which 2 teams end the tournament really early. First, Canada and Brazil are going to face off tomorrow to decide who the loser of the group is in the elimination round. And then the winner of that series will face off against Argentina, who we just saw lose Mexico. The winner of that team makes it through to the next round. The loser will be eliminated. So only one of those 3 teams is going to make it in. Lorinda, who do you think it's going to be?
It's tough because it's going to be such a grind fest. It's going to be endurance battle, I think, with all the death rattle decks in those 3 teams. I feel that Argentina, with that extra game head start, is obviously a big deal. But honestly, any one of them. I'm sorry, I'm going to sit on the fence for now. I might have a better opinion for you tomorrow, but so much interactions with the control decks going on there. Any one of them.
You'll have a better opinion for us after the second game tomorrow when you just know the answer. Absolutely. Well, there you go. That is day 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games 2019 in the books. But from Derek, from Lorinda, from myself, and from the production team, we hope that you've enjoyed today's games, and we'll be seeing you tomorrow, same time, same place for the rest of this group and the beginning of the next one. Until then, have a great night.